Friends, in connection with the previous video of Avian feather part 1, here I would like to discuss on feather structure and types. Here is the structure of typical feather. Feather has two major parts, that is shaft and vane. Shaft contains rachis and calamus. So the rachis is the central portion of the feather from where the webs have a pinaceous part that is called as contour feather, or they are also called as general body feathers, and those feathers, they don't have pinaceous portion but they are plumaceous in nature. They are called as non-contour feather. So these pinaceous feathers have a typical structures like vane, barb, barbule and hooklets, as I have discussed in the structure of typical feather. In case of non-contour feather, these feathers lack for the hooklets, that's why they are plumaceous in nature. Now these contour feathers are again divided into two types, that is the general feather and the flight feathers. So feathers which are present on the tail and wing, they are called as flight feathers, and the feathers other than tail and wing part which are not contributed in the flight, they are called as general feathers, which are present all over the body. And under the non-contour types, the feathers are the non-flight feathers and they are underneath the contour feathers. Say for example, non-flight feathers or the underneath the contour feathers are down feather, they are cotton-like, then powder down, semi-plume, bristle feather which are present on head, nares and the plumes. Flight feathers are again divided into two types, that is the remiges and rectrices. The wing flight feathers, they are called as remiges, and the tail flight feathers are called as rectrices. The wing flight feathers are again majorly divided into primary and secondary feathers and tertiary and the allular feathers. Here you can see the rectrices and the remiges. Rectrices means tail feathers and the remiges means wing feathers. So the tail feathers are again divided into three types, that is the major sickle feather, which is very important in the identification of male and female bird, which is present only in case of male bird. And the tail coverts, these are the small stiff feathers which are present below the major sickle feathers, and laser sickle feathers, these are curly in nature and little bit shorter than the major sickle feathers. This major sickle and the laser sickle, they supports in the flight for the birds. In case of wing feathers called as remiges, there are two important feathers called as primary and secondary feathers. So the primary feathers, they are very important in terms of main forward thrust for the flight, and the secondary feathers helps in the soaring and the flapping mechanism during the flight. Here this is the structure of plumaceous feather. As we have seen in the pinaceous feather have a barb, barbule and barbicel. But in case of plumaceous feather, they have only barb and barbule, but the barbicels are absent. So due to the absence of barbicels, they don't have hooklet and flanks. And due to absence of this hooklet and flanks in the barbicel, these feathers doesn't have any interlocking arrangement. So they looks like a cotton type of feathers. So there is no any peculiar formation of web, or you can't see properly a body of the feather. That's why these are typically different than the pinaceous feather. You can see in this picture, these are the different types of non-contour feathers, that is plumaceous feathers. These are down feather, powder down, semi-plume, then bristle feathers and phyloplumes. Each and every feather of non-contour type have a different functions, and you can see the cotton-like structure of these feathers due to the absence of barbicels in them. The down feathers are very soft, cottony-like in nature. They don't have ratchets and they don't have hooklet-like arrangement. And these are specifically found under contour feather on most part of the body. And their major function is the insulation. Typically, these feathers are observed on the body of the day-old chicks immediately after hatch. And these are the first initial feathers of the chick, and they are used to insulate their body. In case of adult birds, these feathers are observed on the abdominal side of the body in between two legs, and these feathers are very important in terms of maintaining the body temperature. The next type is the powder down. These are commonly dispersed over the body among the ordinary down and contour feathers. Semi-plumes are the intermediate or the hybrid between the contour and down plumaceous feathers without hooklet, and their main function is the structural support and the insulation. The bristle feathers are very stiff in nature. They have tapered ratchets and there is absence of barbs except at the proximal end of the bristle feather, and they are present around beak, nose and eyes of the bird, and their main function is of sensory and the protective type. In case of phyloplumes, these are hair-like feathers with very fine shaft and tuft of short barbs or barbels at its tip, and their main function is attachment to nerve ending and detect air pressure to adjust the flight. So this is overall about the structure of typical feathers and different types of feather in case of avian species. Thank you very much.